Good afternoon, everybody. I'm OP Taneja, extending a hearty welcome to all the speakers and participants on behalf of the Solar Association. Just to introduce myself, I'm here with nearly 50 years of experience of industrial experience in various sectors like graphite electrodes, steel, toughened glass insulators, and power sector, including thermal, hydel, wind, and solar. Till late, I was a part of the Wind Power Association, which I am now advisor to them, and now also with the Solar Association as an advisor on technical aspects. To introduce the Solar Association, please view a small presentation. Host, could you please share the screen? Next. Hello. Host, please make it full. Yeah. Next speech. Next sheet. Yes. Solar Association, a Pan India registered non-profit organization, was established to facilitate India's transition into a sustainable clean energy future by prompting or supporting policies that encourage energy efficiency as well as the increased generation of renewable energy. Next. Our mission is to create awareness on the benefit of the clean solar power and its capacity to create multiple job opportunities, growth, and sustainable development of the economy, and to enhance wider adaptation and penetration into rural areas. Next, please. The aim of the Solar Association, we are providing some of the services like technical and policy support, representation on policy related issues, promotion of trade, financial tie up facilitations, knowledge sharing, conducting training programs, workshops, seminars, webinars related to Indian solar ambience, and the corporate social responsibility, beside host of uh, other activities. Yeah, next. Solar Association also collaborates with the international associations to strengthen international trade, attempt to bring together experts from government, national, state, and local decision makers, business, civil society, and academia to craft robust policies and engage ourselves with the government. As you are aware, the outbreak of COVID-19 has brought the world to a standstill, disturbing business globally. To fight the outbreak, the government of India is taking steps like lockdown, etc. There are a number of steps. All solar manufacturing and project development has completely come to a halt. Government may be taking some steps in aid of renewable sector, but our sector has many challenges and they are to be faced by us. Now, to discuss the challenges and issues ahead, what we are going to, what we are forcing at the moment, Solar Association has organized this webinar, which is first of the series of other webinars we will be planning for. This webinar, titled Solar EPC and COVID-19, will discuss how to steer your solar EPC business through these turbulent times. We are having a panel of eminent personalities and experts from the sector, and I now will request Mr. Chintan Valia to moderate the session and introduce himself along with the speakers. Over to Mr. Chintan.
Namaste, everyone. I hope I am audible. Welcome, welcome once again. Firstly, on behalf of Solar Association, I wish everyone's well-being. Stay safe, stay indoors, and take care of yourself. My name is Chintan Walia. I am the president of the Solar Association Maharashtra chapter and also the senior manager for PV projects for Orb Energy of West India. Uh, and thank you, Taneja ji, for welcoming everyone and handing over to me. So what we're going to first do is I'm going to introduce you to all panelists uh, one by one. So you all know them. And whatever questions you have for the panelists, we're going to take it towards the end. So you can just put in your chat box and we will selectively take questions. To start off with, I have firstly Mr. Sachin Agrawal. Uh, Sachin Agrawal heads solar business for Godrej and Boyce Manufacturing Company, which is a part of Godrej Group. In solar sector, Godrej and Boyce provides EPC solutions for both rooftop and ground mount solar projects. Mr. Sachin holds bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from NIT Durgapur and has MBA in marketing from Great Lakes Institute. He is an experienced professional with over 15 years of work experience, which includes more than 7 years in solar domain. He has worked with highly reputed companies in India, which includes Jindal, Thermax, Larsen and Toubro, and to go on. Now he's currently with Godrej and Boyce. Then we have Mrs. Meher. Mrs. Meher has been working in the renewable energy sector since 14 years. She started off working for UNFCCC projects and moved on to solar. She currently heads business development for Quark Solar, which is a rooftop EPC company. She holds a degree in instrumentation engineering and has a post-graduation diploma in energy management. She is also actively involved in global sustainability matters through her social initiative Enviro Faith. Then I have Mr. Umakant Shende. Mr. Umakant Shende is a business and operations management executive with over 30 years of rich experience in various capacities in general management, corporate development, product development, business operations, and asset management. He's developed and maintained assets of over 400 megawatts in his capacity as COO, CEO, while transferring a startup into a leading solar installer. He has been associated with companies like CleanMax and Thermax before joining Cleantech Solar. Then we have Mr. Girase Gulab Singh. Mr. Gulab Singh is presently the director at Grow Solar Energy Private Limited, and he's developing a 7 megawatt agrovoltaics project. He's working in the power sector now for quite a bit of time. He has been instrumental in setting up Mahagenco's 125 megawatt solar project in 2011-12, which was then one of the single largest solar project in the world. He has sought VRS in 2012 and since being pursuing his interest in solar domain. Then we have Mr. Dr. Sudhir Kumar. Dr. Sudhir Kumar, he is an ex-general manager with Maharashtra Energy Development Agency. Presently, he is a solar consultant and a trainer. He has provided consultancy for 345 megawatt of solar projects and has conducted many training programs on solar power technology, designing, and financial viability. So these are the brief profiles uh, of various speakers today. So we start here. We start first with Mr. Sachin Agrawal. Welcome, Sachin ji, to this webinar. And can we on the can we unmute Sachin ji? Sachin ji, welcome to the webinar.
Yeah. Thank you, Chintan. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Sachin ji, I see we have a lot of participants here, and many of them would be, or rather, would be heading their own small or medium-sized solar EPC companies. Now, in the times of COVID-19, where going really gets tough, and steering your solar business is definitely one big challenge which has come up. Now, you are heading Godrej Solar, and it's a decent sized company. Now, a direct question to you is that firstly, there are a lot of aspects to look on from a management perspective. So, how that is going to be businesses or medium sized EPC businesses in from a complete management perspective. So, I will not go to the finer nuances of it, but overall, what is going to be your say in this particular thing? I'll now hand over to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, all the participants, moderator, and my co-panelists. First of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the association as well as in the participants. Right now, work from home has been acknowledged, accepted by everyone around the world that yes, a professional can work from home. So this is very positive thing which has come out. Then adopting technology, we were very we always have a comfort as Indians to have a physical meet, to have a physical chat. But in the current situation now, everyone is on a Zoom or on a Google Chat or Hangouts. So there is a 360-degree turn in our attitude toward the adoption of the technology. Then all the companies, whether it is a small, big, probably a household wife or elder parents, so everyone has adopted the risk management. Now everyone has started looking at the disaster can come at any point of time. So what would be the continuity plan, how to overcome the risk which a COVID-19 kind of stuff can have on us. So there are a lot of good things which has happened in last couple of months, I should put in. So this is with respect to what good things we can make out from the COVID-19. Now your question, I'm putting it into 4 different buckets. My first bucket is from the organization perspective. What an organization can do in such a difficult time. So right now, the focus of any organization should be in continuity of the business rather than looking at the growth strategy. Survival is now the critical thing. Companies should look at securing their cash flows, reducing their debtors. So wherever you can get in the money, wherever you can recover your debtors, please do it. The third thing is approach to banks. Try to increase your working capital limit as far as possible. Try to seek government support wherever it is feasible to you. Government of India and various state governments are coming up with various plans. So try to utilize those schemes as far as possible. Bucket your debtors in terms of aging. So, and what is the amount or what is the value associated with that particular bucket. So probably your debtors which are very old, try to go and speak to your customers, talk to them and recover your money. So these are very critical things from the organization perspective. Now coming to the team leader and the HR perspective. Everyone in the team or in the organization should understand that every person who is doing a job or who is running a business, he's going through a stressful time. Husband and wife both are engaged in doing the babysitting, doing the household chores. So there is a lot of stress which has come up in everyone's life. So what we need as a leader, as a head, is to be empathetic, to be compassionate with our colleagues, our subordinates, and in fact to our bosses also, because they are also going through a turbulent time. To an individual or probably to any human resource department in an organization, a very important thing which has come up is this virtual world, and the method of engaging with your customers, with your suppliers in the virtual world are totally different. So there are a lot of communication skills, new communication skills, new communication rules has come up in this virtual world. So you need to upskill your employees, your team members. So from the HR perspective, this is a very critical thing. Now the most important critical facet of any organization is the business development and marketing team. Many companies has a different marketing team and has a different sales team. So we need to understand what is the role of a marketing team and how it differentiates from the sales team. Now, if you look at the marketing team, what they do, they will prepare the leaflets, they will prepare the presentations, they will prepare the offers, they will do the costing of the project, they will go advertisement at various conferences. Coming to BD and sales team, I don't know where I got disconnected from the audience, but just to bring in a role of a marketing and role of a sales team. So sales team is typically they go meet the customer and close the meeting, close the deal. But now since we are going to live in this virtual world, so what a marketing and sales team has to do, they need to understand the pain points of the customer. They need to give a package or a solution and become a consultant. It is not about the solution provider, but it has more to do with to be a consultant to the end customer, looking at his pain points and then what you can offer to them. So this is my advice to the sales team, and one cardinal rule of the sales team is, don't go with the half-baked knowledge or half-baked preparedness to your customer. Try to understand what actually he do, what kind of products he is into, and then what kind of solution you can offer to him. So this is a cardinal rule of a good salesperson. So be very thorough in your preparedness when you are approaching any customer. Now the fourth important thing is, if you look at from the management perspective, everyone evaluates inquiries into 3 different buckets. So the buckets are hot inquiry, warm inquiry, and cold inquiry. So what you need to do is, I would like to give an anecdote about the farming and hunting. So in farming, what we typically do, we prepare the field, we sow the seeds, we plow the field, sow the seeds, we nurture it, we do the watering, and then we do the harvesting. So if you look at your hot inquiries or warm inquiries, I should put in, you have funnel is going to dry up if you are not going to have your funnel running. So what you need to do, you have to go into the market and do the head hunting, but then it is going to be a totally changed way which you were doing earlier. Now you need to do the prospecting, and the prospecting should be very sharper. For you, the time would be money. So in physically one-to-one meeting, you always have the back channel mechanism where you understand the body language of the customer and then you receive those signals. But in current scenario in the virtual world, where probably for next 6 months, 1 year, none of your client is going to engage you. So you need to understand what is going on, or what is the thought process going with your customer, and then how you can help it out and how you can close the deal. So and one more thing for all the managers sitting here, in a week, have some fun time, have some collective exercise time with your team. It would be very good to de-stress yourself. And finally, to end, this is typically for all the purchase guys. You need to have 3 C's for all your suppliers, vendors, partners, and the 3 C's are connect, co-create, and collaborate. So connect with your EPC guys or with your team members to jointly create a product and a solution to benefit the end customer, for which probably both of you would be working. Collaborate, creating is ecosystem for both, for win-win situation, and co-create, identify opportunities for growth of both, for both the parties, and eventually it will help you acquire customer in the long run. Over to you,
Okay.
Chintan.
Just thank you for such a wonderful insight, Sachin ji. Just one question from my end is, you must, I'm sure you must be interacting.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
I'm sure you must be interacting with a lot of your existing customers, your funnel or your sales pipeline. So now, this is a very particular question, that some deals which you think was about to crack, and amidst this we saw COVID-19 entering, and post that you also would be talking to the customers, and so overall, what maybe before COVID-19 customer was very positive, and suddenly it's become now 50-50, or I don't know. So what is the customer sentiment now, or what you would suggest, that what would be the customer sentiment, and what would be your suggestion in terms of tackling the customers from a CEO's perspective?
Chintan, so if you talk about the sentiments right now, so majority of the customers probably they would be holding their cash. They will try to conserve their resources, whatever is available with them. Now you need to bifurcate it into 2 sectors. One thing is ground mounted, the other one would be rooftop. So ground mounted is not going to have much impact because of COVID-19, because if you look at ground mounted sector, typically it is driven by SECI or the government projects, in which the developers are going to pump in money. So I don't think there would be any issues with respect to those kind of projects. And thank God we have majority of our solar sector dependent on that particular segment. Now coming to rooftop segment, now surely there is going to be a stress in the CNI segment particularly, which is driving the rooftop segment. So if you ask me about my customers, yes, they had hold their projects probably for next 3 to 6 months time. So we have to wait for those kind of projects to come in. But yes, where that already taken the approval for equity infusion, and the project has been ordered, advance has been released. So we are going to continue with those kind of projects.
Okay. So thanks, Sachin ji. Wonderful insights once again. Thank you so much. So now we move on to another panelist, Meher, Mrs. Meher Sidhwa. Meher, can I have you on the screen, please?
Hi, Chetan. Apologies, I was a bit disconnected and I missed.
Not a problem. We can now see you.
Sure. Sorry, can you just repeat the last bit?
No, so I'm just starting with you, Meher. So
okay.
Okay, so Meher, you basically are heading business development for EPC company. Now, Sachin ji have given a large overview about all the facets of the challenges here. But particularly focusing on the BD and the sales side, which I'm sure a lot of people would be interested here to know. So now, Meher, tell me something that once we enter the COVID-19, and obviously we have to live with it, identifying new leads, business opportunity is going to be a challenge. So, as a business development professional and an expert, how do you think you're going to manage this challenge, and how do you think you're going to come out successfully on this? So, your comments, please, Matt.
Sure. So, pardon me if I'm repeating any of Sachinji's points because I've missed it, but thank you very much for the opportunity. So, with the COVID situation, largely, there are a lot of short-term impacts and some which will be long-term or the cascading effects of this slowdown. So, some of the long-term impacts, if I may say, is changes in how the commercial, like most rooftop players have always been targeting commercial and industrial spaces, right? So the commercial spaces are going to have slightly low occupancy and lower load because we've been reading a lot about how big IT firms like TCS and Wipro are moving to a work from home model. So there are two ways to look at it, right? One is you can say that the load pattern or the load of these commercial entities could be lower and therefore they don't opt for or they opt for a smaller size rooftop project. Another way to look at it is that they may instead of doing open access, because now their load pattern is slightly different and it's lower, instead of open access they may want to look at achieving all their savings using rooftop solar. So this is something where the entire paradigm shift of work from home will come into play. So that will be a long-term impact. Another thing that I'm seeing is also a lot of uncertainty in how businesses are functioning. So a lot of industrial players, because rooftop so far in India it's all about C&I. Everyone only talks about commercial and industrial spaces. So a lot of industrial users will also not want to get into a long-term lease. So a lot of PPA re-engineering will come into play because they'll want to have shorter-term PPAs, and that's something interesting that our industry should look at. I know that there are companies also working on EMI models, etc. But definitely a short-term PPA is something to look forward to. So and also we are seeing that we have a 40 gigawatt target, but we've so far been able to achieve 5 to 6 gigawatts. And this is not because of COVID. I mean, our growth of rooftop has been slower in general also. So how do we maximize this? So here, maybe looking at players other than commercial and industrial is going to be the key. So there will be a lot of scope going forward. There will be a lot of scope for MSMEs and institutional and residential rooftops. And there is going to be a lot of scope on the residential front. If you look, there's going to be a lot of scope for new ideas like group net metering, right? It's something that the Delhi government is already brought in,
Yes.
and so this is going to be an interesting aspect of net metering, which residential societies in Delhi can make use of, and the government has given them as high as 5 megawatts limit. And at the moment, this is only for residential and institutional power consumers. But this will be an interesting turning point even for industrial users, because there are a lot of industries like an industrial owner. Let me give you an example. Like for example, there is a cement factory or a hazardous chemical factory. They have multiple roofs, and as per the policy, we have to consume all the power that belongs to that particular roof. So the meter of that particular roof is eligible under net metering, and you have to install the solar panels on that roof only. So if you have the concept of shared net metering, a lot of things can change, because maybe that user can make use of another shed and yet save power in their premises. So there is, in the long term, there is going to be a lot of these cascading changes that our industry will see and will require. If you look at short-term changes, definitely there are short-term effects. Definitely there are challenges like cash flows, slowed cash flows, delayed cash flows, because the timing of COVID is such that it has come, for us, the lockdown has started in March to April. So there are certain projects that may want to be commissioned by March end, and there is some approval which is stuck somewhere, or some process which is why this is getting delayed. Also, it is impacting the way the client thinks. So for a business development person, if there is a delay in the client's decision right now, which is something every BD team is coping with in every company. And there are also things like job security, which people have to hang on to. So companies right now really need to, in fact, take care of their employees, because this is a time when mass layoffs and stuff is not advisable. Maybe they could look at strategies where there is, where an employee is coming forward and taking some willing changes rather in the long run. So at least for me, I can say at Popular, we are a small close-knit team. So this is definitely not something that we have on our cards to lay off our teams or do anything of that sort.
I wanted to just, since you had already touch basing on this particular thing, on the negative side of the effects of COVID-19.
I'm coming to the positives also.
Okay. Okay. So my one other question was in that direction. So anyway, just go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So these are some of the challenges per se that we are going to face as an industry, and we are going to, and a lot of things will be evolving out of it. And if you look at the other side, whereas like the positive side, there are a lot of positives that will come in the long term, and these will include a lot of players now will look at renewables more seriously, because all this while COVID has taught them a lot of, it has come to like a self-realization for companies to realize that yes, I can actually reduce my operational costs, and renewable energy is actually going to be the need of the hour. So earlier, so probably the job of convincing the client will become easier for us, because now the clients will want to save power. They'll want to look at even climate change more seriously, because on one hand you are saving your power cost, on the other hand you are doing good to the environment. So this is going to be a like a multi-pronged approach, which corporates will want to look at. Also, there are a lot of RE100 companies which have, like earlier people said that, oh, you can't do 100. Have certain positive changes for the now clients will now hello, I got a message, can't hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah, we lost you in between for a while.
Oh, okay. So there are also going to be instances where people are now going to look at renewables more and look at take decisions more mindfully. So for the business development industries, there is going to be a change in the sense people will be taking online meetings more seriously, because this is now a necessity, not an option. For business development, it was always very important to meet the client face to face in order to close a deal. But now a lot of these operational changes will take place, and which is also good in a way because you will be able to reach out to people faster. You can save on your resources. At the same time, your client is not going to think that you are just not serious because you haven't come down. It's something that the every firm is now going to adapt to. So we are looking at a lot of operational changes also, and these will be taken in the right spirit and in a serious way.
Okay, Mayor, I'll just take one last question quickly with you from a BD
Sure.
perspective. That next 6 months is going to be very difficult, I believe, for solar EPC companies overall. For many, survival shall also be very difficult. Now, citing this, have your organization done any special provisions, or what different strategy your organization has adopted? If you can share with us, anything, something, or something you have done which is different out of the box and can be useful for people here listening here.
Well, our strategy, like every company will have their own strategies, but
Sure.
one of the, broadly speaking, one of the things that we as well as a lot of other companies would want to focus right now is on reorders, because you have already proven yourself to a particular client once, and if you focus on your deliverables and your quality and the commitment towards work, reorders is something that can be a very good uh, business that can drive the economics of your drive your targets. So we are definitely focusing on our existing clients and getting reorders from them. We are also interacting one-on-one with each of our team members and trying to see which are the areas where we can help them wherever they feel there's a challenge. So we're trying to have all the team heads reach out to each of their team members and help them overcome their issues rather than giving them an ultimatum during this time. So, and we are also trying to, as these lockdown, as the lockdown is now, gradually opening up, we have the the red, orange, green zones. Wherever possible, every company is now starting to do its work. So we are gradually catching up. It's only going to be the business development that you can do online. Ultimately, your implementation has to happen on site. So we are going to focus on reorders, and we'll continue doing what we are doing, and we'll continue our site work the way it is. So we'll try to reach out as much as possible and keep growing.
Okay, thanks. Great. Thanks for your wonderful insights, Meher. We ended this note with something on operational side of it, and yeah, that's a challenge. And we have our expert, the next expert, who is operational side expert, I would say, Mr. Umakant Shende. Can we have Mr. Umakant Shende?
Yeah, hi, Jimmy.
Hi, hello, sir. Hello. So welcome once again to this webinar. So you have been an operational expert all throughout, and you are now heading Cleantech Solar Southeast Asia operational side of it, the technical side of it. So my question here to start off is. There is definitely foreseen a major executional challenges both for rooftop and ground mount projects. So firstly, in a very precise manner, how are you addressing these issues right now? Because I'm sure Cleantech has lots of projects to execute, not only in India, but in elsewhere, but we'll focus on India. And if you can just highlight on these issues and how are you going to, how are you overcoming, or how are you, planning or gearing up to overcome this? Up to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chintan, for your brief introduction, and thank you for Sachin and Mayor for giving me a good opening. That gives me a specifically to I should be only to the points and precise to the points and give you the answer very quickly, because they have given a quite a different aspects of the business as well as the BD aspects. So coming to your question, yes, COVID-19 has given us the new learning altogether. COVID-19 is a coronavirus disease of 19, which has is a pandemic, has created an unfortunate event for the business. And looking at this challenging situation, there is a temporary disruption for the business. One need to understand this is a temporary and not the long term. The focus on health and safety has taken a paramount importance now, and there are government regulations and guidelines need to be followed going forward. As we have seen, and as Sachin has also explained, the overall working has changed now. The working currently is happening. The way working is happening is a remotely we are working, like webinars. What we are doing it is completely was never thought of it. And today I'm so glad that we have for this particular presentation, we have almost more than 250 plus participants are already there. So thank you for everybody here being here. So coming to your question that rooftop project and C&I sector and residential sector must be installed in a collaboration with the customer. And there will be the guidelines to be followed for the social distancing and number of laborers being employed in for a given task. It will be restricted for initial period and we'll need to monitor going forward. What's going to be the impact, how it turns out to be. Yes, with respect to the shipping and transportation is a major challenge at this stage because of the country was under lockdown. But these disruptions are temporary, and as the lockdown gets lifted, hopefully this will get normalized.
Okay. Sir, now coming to the another facet here is amidst this, I'm sure there you would have signed a lot of power purchase agreements, and some of them would be already in the pipeline. Now, obviously, with that there would be a commissioning date, and definitely this creates a lot of disruption in terms when you're not able to give your delivery on time, and so I'm sure customer also would understand. But then, can you share your experience that how you have been dealing with this situation?
Yeah, just to tell you that Cleantech is mostly operates in the PPA market. That's a RESCO market.
Yes.
And as you see that your question is related to the COD.
Yes.
Right. And then you have committed a certain COD in PPA, and what does it happen, and what does the customer understand this? See, very clearly, this is a good opportunity for the customer also, because this COVID-19 has also created a new things for the customers. Is an opportunity for most of the RESCO players. Now the customers will prefer to go for PPA or OPEX model rather than the, as even Mr. Sachinji has mentioned, that CAPEX, considering the risk mitigation and the CAPEX neutral investment, they will be looking at it, right? So this is a very good opportunity. And what you mentioned about the COD dates and other things, such eventualities are generally covered in the PPAs, right? Wherein, and it's very understood with the client expectations also. And with respect to the committed date, when there is a force majeure or such kind of a situation is there, now naturally the COD date gets expected. Also, one more important point which I would like to mention here is that customer will also look at how do we support during them in this particular period, and after the period also. Once the period is over, which are the EPC players or which are the OPEX players are working with them for the long term, and how do they respond to the current situation. So customer will be more likely in favor of developers who have demonstrated this period that they are able to be operate safely and effectively, and able to work with them in collaboratively. Because rooftop segment is a segment where you need to work with the customers very closely. So therefore, the customers will also see as our performance, and that is where it's going to be a different ball together. One more point related to the COD dates. As you know, the government has given a very clear guidelines for the PPA that lockdown period plus 1 month is the mobilization. 1 month for mobilization is given as an extension for the COD dates. So government is also supportive with respect to this particular thing, and customer is also willing to understand the current situation and work with you.
Okay. Now, citing this, when it comes to core execution and operational challenges, um, in probably in the near future or in the future, how do you see the adoption of Chinese solar panels versus the Indian-made solar panels? I mean, from a customer perspective, I mean, do you see that customers would be willing to only do installations with Indian panels, or they would be like, okay, it doesn't matter for us, whatever you do, we need power. So, what are your thoughts on this? Because I see that particularly all over the world, there is a a little bit slow, but people are now trying to avoid Chinese made products, or maybe in terms of having a grudge or however it could be. So what do you think that how the industry would or the customers would look from that perspective?
See, Chintan, we have to understand the ground reality.
Hmm.
Today, particularly for the solar photovoltaic panels, okay, the entire supply chain or the raw material is mostly available, and the entire supply chain is available in China, okay, and that's something which one cannot create it overnight in any other countries. Whether it is the US, whether it is India or anyone, would require certain amount of time. So going forward, that whatever we talk about, and I don't see the way you see it, or maybe it's just WhatsApp messaging or this thing saying that
Maybe, yeah.
or anything. But I don't see that is something which is, because customers are very practical. They are looking at a saving of their cost, and it's not something which is coming in place saying that where do you manufacture it. Okay, number one. Number two, yes, we as Indians, as our own as patriotic, we should talk about when can we have a manufacturing, and there are a lot of government needs to be focusing on, right from the raw material like silicon to the going forward to make the wafers and other things. Because today what we have currently, the almost 2 gigawatt of panel manufacturing capacity in India, and which is partially which is backed up by the solar cell, but solar cell also comes from wafer. So wafers are made only in China, so it is not that you can
Yeah.
just pull out the Chinese system. So we need to work, means government also has to come up, our industry, the entire focus has to change, but it will take certain amount of time, because this has given an eye opening for the most of the businesses, including the government, how they can be a self-reliable.
Okay. Um, Perfect. Thanks for the insights, Mr. Umakant.